Did we like it? And how did everyone look? Are we stealing stuff from it? Is it problematic? It's brunch movie reviews.
Bohemian Rhapsody is nominated for Best Picture.
Somehow,
I
some
think
way.
it should be nominated for Worst Picture because I think that it just was. It was probably the worst movie I saw all year. I don't know if I don't know, maybe Blumhouse's Truth or Dare might be in there, but at least they made some funny faces in that movie.
I wouldn't go that far as worst movie I've seen, but I think that for sure most overrated.
But yeah, definitely the worst movie that for some reason any person has taken seriously.
Yeah,
and a lot of
loved.
people have taken it seriously. So let's get into it. Did we like it? Out of 4, I gave it a 0.
Wow,
I
that's
did
so
not like it.
strong.
I hated it. It offended me. It took something that I liked and it made it terrible. It didn't do the. It's not like with Green Book they did the inspired by a true story instead of based on a true story. This was
the story of Queen.
This was Queen themselves. This was Roger Taylor and Brian May saying, "This is what happened."
Straight from
And
the source, baby.
Right. And so much of that shit didn't happen. They were like, we'll get into the is it problematic part, but just I was offended with how they took such a great entertaining story and perverted it for a million different reasons. So bad, hated it. It was definitely my least favorite. It might not be the worst movie I saw all year. It was my least favorite movie maybe I've seen in my life.
We have a
God, I hated it.
We have a full episode. If you missed it, it's out there. Full episode on this
And
reviewing this movie.
It gets more into why, like how it was inaccurate and stuff like that.
Yeah. 1 out of 4 from me. Thought it was a very paint by numbers biopic for a very bland and corny way of telling a story of a band that deserves so much better, and it never felt like an authentic storytelling of a band that for sure deserved to have their story told as it was because they were so interesting and so exciting, and you didn't need to screw it up and like mess with the timeline as much as this movie did. And I know that you know, movies take liberties all the time, but they just did it in so many places where it wasn't necessary, and it didn't even make like the party scenes look fun. It was all just so bland.
And I'll say this, if you liked it, you are wrong. It's not like I'm a big to each his own, let your freak flag fly, do whatever you're going to do. But if you liked this movie, you're going to say that you liked it because the music was great.
Yeah.
And nothing was preventing you from listening to Queen music.
Exactly. And
Nothing.
And that's what it is. It's still Queen. Like it's Queen. They didn't even do the music themselves.
Yeah.
So, the one redeeming thing I guess I would say about this movie is
that
the Live Aid scene, and
they did that shot for shot,
shot
which was
for
cool.
shot of Live Aid, which was very cool. But you know what? You can save money and watch the actual Live Aid performance on YouTube.
That footage is out there. How did everyone look? Out of 2, I gave it 0.1. Brian May guy looked exactly like Brian May. Lucy Boynton is in it. Have a soft spot in my heart for Lucy Boynton because she was great in Sing Street. Also, she's beautiful, so she's going to look good no matter who she plays. It was too distracting to have the kid from Jurassic Park play John Deacon, because when you have the kid from Jurassic Park play anyone, he's going to look like the kid from Jurassic Park, and you're like, why was the kid from Jurassic Park in Queen? So that was a little distracting. They had Mike Myers as gross, sweaty Jeff Lynne is a guy who never existed. That didn't need to be there. And this is so important. Rami Malek did not look like Freddie Mercury. Not nearly enough. Not nearly enough.
No.
They way over-exaggerated his teeth. Like, you were... So, I remember you said after you saw the movie, you were like, I didn't necessarily know beforehand what Freddie's speaking voice looked like, so I couldn't tell if he did it. Did you know going into it that Freddie had like a huge overbite?
Yeah, I knew.
Okay,
and I knew that he had big ass front teeth.
Right,
but that's the thing. Rami Malek has a big ass mouth of teeth.
They just way over it. They made him look like what did I say? A horse? They made him look like a horse.
Yeah. And Freddie has big ass front teeth. They just like made every tooth in his mouth the exact size as the front teeth.
I don't know how they could get that wrong, and that is an important detail. I'm sorry. If you're playing Freddie Mercury, you got to look like him.
I gave it a 0.8 because I thought that, a lot of the band members looked the part, but it also just sort of felt like they were just wearing costumes, and I think that it's partly because we know Rami Malek. And they sort of overdid it there. The kid from Jurassic Park wearing a Queen costume, and just even like. And so for this one, I'll adjust it to how did everyone look to how did everything looked.
Yeah.
I just felt like a lot of this movie and a lot of like the production design and the set design, it all just felt so self-contained. It never felt like this was a real world.
That's a great
thing.
point.
It just it felt like almost like a stage production. Just put on the big screen.
Tell you what, it was a bad stage production.
It just felt so fake.
Yeah.
All of it felt so fake. But I guess I'm giving it a 0.8 because the points that I'm giving it is for the Live Aid scene. The Live Aid scene looked awesome.
Are we stealing stuff from it? Out of 2, I gave it 0.1 because I reserve the right to take any content from it and make fun of it.
Okay, fair enough. 0.2 for me, because there's one specific moment that I might steal, and it comes from when Freddie gets diagnosed with AIDS. He somberly says, "Heyo."
Ayo.
And I think that might be a good move for the future.
If you ever get diagnosed with anything?
Yeah, or just like if I'm ever really sad.
Yeah.
And just say, "Heyo."
And
somebody's like, "What the hell is that? That's ridiculous. Why would you say that in this sort of situation?" You say, "Fucking exactly."
Yeah.
Fucking exactly. Why would I ever do that?
And you liked that movie.
Yes.
We should go AOing sometime, which is when you go to a hospital, sit in the waiting room, wait for people to walk out, and if it seems like they got bad news, go AO to see if they say AO back. That's not bad. Let's see.
It's very bad, but
is it problematic? I give it. So again, with problematic, if in the rare case you want to be problematic, you give it a high score. Usually you give it a high score because it means it wasn't problematic.
Right.
So I am giving this a 0 out of 2 because they didn't make
high five.
You too.
Big fat 0.
They didn't make Freddie gay enough
Nope.
at all. It was a movie that seemed ashamed of Freddie Mercury being gay, which is the weirdest thing in the world to do in a movie that was supposed to be about Freddie Mercury. Although, to be honest, I don't know what that movie ended up being about. I think it ended up being about how they played Live Aid. That was like, and how they did it for Freddie. And
they did it in the wrong timeline.
And
it was a movie about Live Aid that lied about Live
his
Aid.
AIDS diagnosis, which is a kind of important thing to be like, yo, let's make this movie about Live Aid. This movie should have been about Freddie Mercury and how gay he was and all the great stuff that he did, all the drugs that he did. And nope, it was about how Live Aid was the concert for Freddie. And I also have written in there the AO hospital scene. We can make our jokes about it. That is deeply ridiculous.
Deeply ridiculous,
and
for sure.
offensive. So Michael Scott, double lame. My final note on fuck that movie.
Okay. Under problematic, I have listed. He was basically outed by his girlfriend or his wife.
Yeah.
And thought that was a little ridiculous. I think Freddie sort of knows that he was gay. I would assume.
Although I, to be honest, as a Freddie Mercury fan, I don't know,
I don't know how
he came out or whatever. That scene was a little weird because it tried to be. It was an angry wife realizing that her husband is gay, but also they're deciding to be very woke in the 70s, where she's like, Freddie, like, you're gay and like you've been cheating on me, blah blah, and then she's like, yo, but like this is. It's not your fault. Like, blah, blah, like immediately supportive. They didn't have They didn't have 10 minutes of her being like, "How could you cheat on me?" All of this stuff. It was. That movie sucked.
It was really, really bad, and also officially credited to Bryan Singer.
Oh, problematic.
Fucking super problematic.
Yeah.
And it's insane that he's still getting credit for that.
All right, let's add him up. I'm all done.
0.1?
0.2.
0.2.
Because wait, right? I gave it a 0.1 for Lucy Boynton
Yep.
and Brian May guy, and 0.1 for gonna steal stuff from it so I can make fun of how bad that movie is. Yeah, it is 0.2 out of 10, which for
my
me at
God.
least gives it the distinction
Piece of shit of the year.
shit of the year. What you got to be under what?
2.5.
If you're under 2.5, you're qualified for piece of shit of the year. We then have to decide whether or not to approve it, push it through. Let's push it all the way through, baby.
Don't think you're getting any lower than 0.2.
What are you?
1.8. So it is 2 for 2 on
Stamped
piece of shit of the
double
year.
Piece of shit of the year. That is a bad movie, and if you like it, you dumb.